Abuelita, I'm truly sorry. How could I have confused my grandmother's voice with that of a bleating goat? I felt terribly guilty and ashamed. I knew that the shed door was prone to latch by itself. It was slammed. That's why a wooden stake for propping the door open was usually kept nearby. But this time the stake had not been used, and now my grandmother was shaking and shivering and glaring at me. Was glaring me. Right. Looking, staring, giving kind of a smirk or a kind of probably an angry look. Good job. All right, next page, 76. All right. Just you wait, Telesphora. Just you wait until your father gets home. I'll have him punish you, she said, and her bottom lip quivered and her nostrils flared. What does quivered mean? Shake. What does flared mean?
Open.
Yep, good job. Your nostrils open, good job. My parents came home in a few days, and of course, the first thing that occurred was that Abuelita told her story to my father. Uh-oh. Son, Telesphora, left me locked in the storage shed all afternoon on Saturday. I called and called for her, but she declares she didn't hear me. She says she heard a goat bleating. Can you imagine that I could possibly sound like a goat? My grandmother said. All right, we're gonna take a break right there. Wow, so she told the dad on them, and all right, let's look at something else real quick, guys. All right. Oh, did I drop it? Here we go. All right, so this is called a visuals plus text equals better understanding. I'm gonna pass these out in a minute. We're gonna look at it. So, what I learned from the visuals. So the pictures, that's what a visual is. So looking back at the pictures, what did we come up with? I said we saw blue paint. It seemed or felt kind of cold, is what it made me think of. Isn't that right, Josh? It looked like ice. Isn't that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right. And what did we say?
Stuff look like stone.
Looks like stone. Yep. Looks like stone or wood. And the paint's chipping away, so it's probably old. All right. And then it says the wooden door latch. That's what I've already put on mine. All right. And then the next box says what I learned from the text. And what I put is the door was latched on the shed, so that was right from the picture. And then we said it did become cold. So we said the picture looked cold, and we also saw in the text that the night got cold. And grandmother was in the shed. So that's something we learned from the text, that not only did we see the picture of the shed, but the grandmother was locked in there. That's why it showed us the latch was locked. All right, and then now at the bottom, it says how the visuals helped me understand the text better. I could see from the picture, the shed was old, and the latch was probably almost impossible to undo from the inside. So, could that be from the visual to help me better understand the text? So we used that first picture. I know there's not a lot of pictures in the story. Really, the second two pictures are pretty much the same thing. But that first picture does give us a lot of context because it has what? It has the latch on the door and it's locked. So, and it's an old shed, so it's probably not a comfortable place to be in, right? Yeah. Yep. So, all right.
It sounds like the whole people, so it's probably not insulated.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's a great point, John. Wow. It's probably not insulated. I didn't even think of that. So it's even colder. It's not just like being inside a house. It's like being pretty much outside. Yep.
I mean, it might be a little bit warmer.
A little bit because it doesn't have
only
a
like
wind.
2 or 3 degrees. Though.
Yeah, exactly.
Not
Exactly.
very much.
All right.
Where's a burlap sack?
A burlap sack? It's like it's kind of like a hard cloth. It's like it wouldn't be comfortable to like use as a blanket. It's like almost like the material you use for a basket, but a little bit smaller, and it's like part of a sack. It's like you usually carry like animal feed and something like that, maybe. You know what I'm saying? And so it's not comfortable to wrap up in it. And
But she wasn't thinking about comfort, she was thinking about
she was just
survival.
thinking, yep, exactly. Good for you. All right. What's wrong, Josh? You? Alrighty. All right, now let's look on a little bit farther. I'm gonna read. We'll go ahead and finish it up. All right. All right. So where did I stop? I stopped at. That's what my grandmother said. All right. Now, my father was very concerned, of course. I admitted to him that indeed I had mistakenly thought I heard a goat, that I was terribly sorry that I hadn't checked on Abuelita as I should have. He scolded me severely, but this wasn't enough punishment. According to my grandmother, So she decided to penalize me herself by refusing to speak to me. This made me very sad, and it seemed to affect all of us. A sense of sorrow and discomfort permeated our family. So what do y'all think sorrow means?
Sad.
Sad. What do you think discomfort means?
Not comfortable.
Oh, good job. And what about permeated? That one's tough.
Permanent, like, no, not like permanent.
Spread apart.
There you go. It's spread throughout. Good job. Great job. So a sense of sorrow and discomfort. So sadness and being uncomfortable spread throughout our family because the grandmother was so angry.
Permanent, though, it made you think permanent.
It made you think of like permanent and yeah. And well, that's good. I mean, I see where you were using the part of the word. That's all right.
Context clues.
Yep, exactly. All right. Now let's go. So 2 weeks later, I asked to go with my father to the big yellow store in town. While Papa made his purchases, I bought a silver whistle and a long piece of blue satin ribbon. I threaded the ribbon through the ring on the whistle and tied the ends of the ribbon together. That evening, I placed the whistle in a little box and wrapped it in some colored paper. All right. So can y'all see that? Could y'all see? Because is that pretty descriptive? What color was the whistle?
It was silver.
Silver. And what'd she wrap it in?
A box. She put it in a box.
She put it in a little box and wrapped it, and it just says some colored paper. I don't think it says what color, but so she put it in a little box. So y'all can see that, can't you? Y'all can come up with your own picture with that. All right, and then it says, after supper, I approached my grandmother. This is for you, Abuelita. I'm terribly sorry about what happened to you in the shed. I hope you can forgive me. Can you sit up? Sit up. Okay. I hope you can forgive me. My grandmother looked at me and said nothing. Then she took the box and opened it. She pulled the whistle out by its ribbon. Well, Telesphora, whatever is this for? She asked, keeping her eyes on the whistle. It's to wear around your neck when you are outside. If you need me, just blow the whistle and I'll come to you, I said. So why did she get her the whistle?
So that it happened won't happen again.
That's exactly right, John. Good job. So that what happened won't happen again. So her grandmother, if she's ever in danger again, she can just blow that whistle and then Telesphora will hear her. Correct? Is that right? All right. Let's see. So, and how can I be sure you'll hear this little whistle? You couldn't even hear me yelling at you. But Abuela put it around her neck anyways. The next evening, while I was feeding the chickens, I heard a faint whistle. I stopped what I was doing and stood very still. Then I heard the whistle more distinctly. Yes, it was definitely coming from inside the storage shed. I rushed to the shed and found the door latched. That surprised me because the wind wasn't blowing at all. There was no way that the door could have slammed shut by itself. Something seemed really strange about this, and I was suspicious. I unlatched the door and opened it. There stood my grandmother with the whistle in her mouth. She quickly removed it and said, "I think your papa needs to do something about that crazy door latch. Don't you think so, Chatita?" She hurried out of the shed and we started toward the house. I could see that she was smiling, and I think I even heard her chuckling. So, how did it end? Did it end on a good note?
Yes.
Yep. So did she hear the grandmother that time?
Yeah.
So, what was the title of the story? Do y'all remember?
No whistle.
And do y'all see why it was titled The Whistle now?
Yeah.
Why?
So because all the events later led to a whistle, basically.
Yep, that's right. What you got, Luke?
The whistle was like almost like a barrier between the two, like
From the begin, like from the mistakes and from the girl's mistake, it's what made everything better. That's exactly right.
It
Good
was
job.
probably the rope that tied their relationship
Back
back
together.
together.
That's great. Wow, that's great metaphor. All right.
Metaphorically.
Do what?
Metaphorically put that together.
Well, that was great. Good job, John. All right, let's look what we got next. Let's look. So, we've already talked about what the pictures look like. What are some pictures? What are some pictures you guys have come up with just from hearing or reading the story?
Probably the box it was wrapped in. I honestly imagine it in the same blue for some reason.
Blue, yep. That blue's in your head, and
Yeah.
that's how stories like this work, especially stories without a lot of pictures. You kind of have to put stuff in there, and so the pictures or the things that you do see or the colors that you do hear kind of stick in all your images. So yep, I'm the same way. I thought the box was probably wrapped in some blue paper. Yep. So any other images? Can y'all kind of imagine the shed? What it looked like?
Yeah.
You think it's a brand new,
Yeah.
spiffy looking shed, or
No, it's
no?
no. Raggedy old.
Yeah, raggedy old,
Yeah.
scratched up, holy.
with a strong latch probably.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
A
could
horse in
probably.
it too?
You think a horse is in it?
I
Maybe.
could probably also imagine the house is probably a
Cute, it's just
two-story
storage,
cabin,
not a
more
barn.
likely.
Yeah. You think so?
It's a storage shed, not a barn.
Well, it could be. It doesn't give us much details about the
The
inside
barn
of the
is
shed.
more for storing stuff for animals and giving animals some shelter as
Yeah,
well.
that's exactly right.
It's not much. So there's a difference between a barn and a storage shed. So.
All right. So now, guys, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna give y'all this visual plus text. That the sheet that I showed y'all as an example. I'll show it to y'all again. I'm gonna give this to y'all. What you're gonna do is you're gonna do this. This time it's gonna be on your own. And look, you can even draw some pictures in here if you want to. Some pictures of, like we just talked about, some things that you saw from the story. But so what the first thing says is what I learned from the visuals. So on the first box, you're putting from those pictures that we talked about at the beginning and that we just talked about now, from the pictures, what did you learn from them? Like I said, I know there's not many in this story, but you can just write a few things that you learned from the pictures, or that you that the pictures made you feel. What did they make you think of? And then on the second box is what I learned from the text. So make sure you are looking back at the text and looking at the words that we talked about and the spots that we stopped at and kind of went in depth talking about, and just put what you learned from the text about this story. So, and then the last box is how did the visuals help me understand the text better? So you're kind of putting them together. I know, like I said, I know there weren't many visuals, but from that, really probably that first picture, and maybe that second picture you could tell it was wood that had been, blue paint was chipped. So how did those visuals help you understand? Did it kind of lay out the story in your head a little bit better? Did it kind of?
Yeah.
Alright. Well, y'all tell me, and if you have any questions or need me to read you any part, I can do that. But y'all can do this part on your own if you can. So what did go back to the first picture right here, Josh? Let's look at this first picture. That one. And what did it tell you about the story? What does that picture make you think of? You can just put that right there in that first box. And y'all can look back and read the story if you need to, or ask me to read you a part if you need me to. It's all up to you. Let's see, what was that last page? That last page was 76. Alright, I can look back. You doing alright? Yeah, that first box is just what the visuals taught you or showed you. So really probably, like I said, you're probably mainly just using that first picture. That one's the most helpful. But what it showed you. And like I said, you can, even in that first box, if you want to, you can even draw something that it made you think of, or draw a visual that we talked about. I'm fine with that.
What are we drawing?
Do what?
What are we drawing?
What do I mean, draw?
Uh,
You don't have to draw that. I'm just saying, if it helps you understand it better, if you visualize something in the story, you can draw it right here.
So how am I drawing?
Or just whatever the story made you think of. Whatever you visualize in your head. Or you can just write some things that this picture